Long, long ago, there lived a king with his wife in a rich kingdom. The couple was sad because they had been married for 10 years. But they still had no children. One day, the queen was sitting beside the windowsill. She saw a shooting star in broad daylight. She thought,
"It must be a magical star. I'll make a wish."
She did just that. She wished for a child. A few days later, she gave birth to a baby. The kingdom was filled with happiness. The king held a festival in honor of the princess. One of the things at the festival was to give a name to the child. By the end of the festival, there was a long list. It took quite a while, but finally, the queen and the king decided on Salana. It was a beautiful name. When Salana turned young, she was for the first time permitted to go into the forest by herself. Now, in this very wood, there lived a witch. A very mean witch. Salana was so happy that she danced. She danced by the crashing creek. She danced into the clearing, where the cranky old witch lived. It so happened that she danced into the witch's flower bed, and happened to step on a potion flower. The witch was watching the whole thing.
"A very terrible fate shall fall upon you,"
screeched the witch. At the sound of the witch's voice, Salana spun around, screamed, and ran. She ran out of the flower bed. She ran out of the clearing. She ran by the crashing creek. By the time she got home, she was totally out of breath, and her dress was torn.
"What's happened to you?"
asked the queen.
"Oh, Mother. I'm really sorry." "Oh, Mother. I'm really sorry. You see, I was running through the forest, and my dress caught on a bramble,"
said Salana.
"No. Not that, child. Didn't you look in a mirror?"
said the queen. Following her mother's orders, Salana went over to the mirror and looked in.
"Oh, my God,"
she cried.
"It must be the witch's spell to be ugly."
The princess had been very beautiful until now. But now she had short hair and buck teeth.
"Oh, dear."
The queen called the king.
"Yes,"
said the king.
"I'd like to go into the woods to find the witch,"
he said. So he rounded up 3 knights to go into the forest with his soldiers. After a while, they rode past the crashing creek. They rode into the clearing, where the witch lived. They rode up to her yard and halted their horses. The king dismounted and walked up to the witch's house. He knocked at the door.
"What do you want?"
said the witch.
"I'm here to see that you undo the spell you put on my daughter."
replied the king.
I can't undo it. But she can by finding someone who loves her. Goodbye now,
said the witch, closing the door. The king remounted his horse, then turned around and started to head home. When they got to the kingdom, the king spilled the news to his family.
And she is not even old enough to marry,
said the queen, disgusted. Once she heard it, Salana just cried. 8 sad years passed. Soon, Salana would be turning 18. On the day of her 18th birthday, Salana was walking in the forest, being very careful not to go into the clearing where the witch lived. As she walked along, she came across an ugly prince.
Oh, I'm very sorry,
said Salana.
That's okay,
said the prince.
What's your name?
my name is Henry.
I'm Salana.
You know, you're beautiful.
said Henry.
Well, you're handsome too,
said Salana.
Will you marry me?
asked Henry.
Sure, if my parents say yes,
answered Salana.
Come on, let's go to my castle.
When they came to the king's and queen's chambers, Salana said,
May I marry this prince?
Sure.
Both parents responded. On the wedding day, when Henry and Salana both said,
I do.
There was suddenly a gust of wind. When it had gone, in the place of an ugly princess, there was a beautiful princess. In the place of an ugly prince, there was a handsome prince. After that, Henry and Salana lived happily forever.